Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dan Heinemeier. I'm the Executive Director with Lean Construction Institute, and I'm pleased to welcome you to our webinar here this morning. Next slide, please. So I'm going to cover, in the course of our agenda today, the LCI at a glance portion of the program. I will then hand off to other staff who will talk about education, communities of practice, events, etc. Next slide. So this is our LCI at a glance slide. I'll start in the upper right-hand corner of the slide and talk to you about our mission and vision. Our mission, as you can see, is to lead the building industry in transforming its practices and culture. Now, that's a short statement, very easy to say, but also very challenging to do in practice. We know that cultural transformation for organizations is difficult, and for industries, it's very difficult. But we're committed to doing this, and we have a board of directors and a large cadre of volunteers across the country who are equally committed to doing it. So we're optimistic that we're going to make progress over time in transforming our industry for the better. Our vision is a healthy and thriving building industry, delivering outstanding project outcomes every time for everyone. We take this very seriously as well, because LCI doesn't just represent the owners, doesn't just represent the general contractors. We represent all of the stakeholders to the project efforts, and we take that very seriously as well. Moving now to the left-hand side of our slide, we have about 220 members at any given time. Of those owner members comprise about 40, so approximately 20%. And we have 29 communities of practice around the country. You can think of those kind of as chapters. We call them communities because they're really in business to be very collaborative, to encourage community and to build community in the areas where they serve. You can see on our US map here that chances are wherever you live and work in one of the major or medium-sized building markets, you're going to find a community of practice in your backyard. We want to encourage you to get involved in those, and certainly others in your company or organization to get involved in those. It's the best way that we know for folks to progress in their lean journey, meet people who are trying to accomplish the same things you are, meet people who are further along in that journey and very willing to share with you the benefits and the opportunities that lean presents. So please do take us up on that and do engage with your local communities of practice. And we'll talk more about that later on in the webinar as well. On the lower left-hand side of our slide here, immersive education program. We have a lot of educational programming. We have online-based programming, e-learning, webinars, etc. We also have in-person training and programming. That happens typically in the communities of practice around the country and also at our major national events. And we'll talk about all that later on in the webinar as well. And finally, we have more traditional learning opportunities. You can find books and articles and other materials on our website, and I'd encourage you to hop on the website and explore that. There's lots of material there for you to enjoy and benefit from. Next slide, please. So research. I enjoy talking about research for a variety of reasons, not the least of which is that research really is kind of part of the DNA of LCI from its inception. We were started by two people who were researchers and consultants, Greg Howell and Glenn Ballard. They worked with companies, owner organizations, general contractors 20 plus years ago, creating video-based studies and analyses of what was happening at the workface, and helping companies understand how some of the traditional practices they were using were actually impeding productivity and could be improved by using lean thinking and tools. Since then, our research program has continued to morph and develop. And within the last 6 or 7 years, we've been doing two kinds of research predominantly. The first kind is what you see here on this slide, and I won't try to read the fine print to you. You can look at that at your leisure. But basically, we have done surveys of our industry working with a nationally known survey and analysis firm. And we asked them to go out and survey the owner community and subsequently the A&E community, and more recently the general contractor and trade partner community. And we asked them to survey based on an understanding of what a typical project looks like and how it's been performed compared to a best project and how that was performed. And we studied the differences. And it turns out that projects that use lean intensity, high lean intensity, by which I mean projects that use multiple lean techniques and tools, fare much better than projects that don't. And as a matter of fact, they're likely to be completed ahead of schedule, more likely to be under budget, and they're more likely to have a higher level of satisfaction for the owner. So these surveys conducted separately over several years continue to bear out these results. And it's been very useful to us to help companies understand the benefits, encourage people to be aware of lean, and to actually take the plunge and begin to develop a lean program for themselves. So that's our first type of research. The second type that we do is more academic in orientation. We've hired university teams to do various kinds of research for us, typically case study-based research. Well, they'll go out and study a project or two, or they'll study how lean is being implemented by companies and try to understand the constraints and how those could be overcome. Probably the big differentiator in our academic type of research compared to what you might consider academic research typically is we're not interested in producing PhD level studies that just sit on the shelf for folks who are inclined to read that kind of material. We actually encourage our researchers to create products that our industry can utilize and actually implement lean on projects. Probably the best example of this we did several years ago with Penn State. We asked them to create a lean deployment guide. So a project team can take this guide, working with their team, look at how lean could be implemented on their particular project to the greatest effect, get the most bang for your buck and using various tools and techniques based on lean thinking, and then implement those, based on the guidance that we're providing through this tool. That lean project deployment guide is available on our website. We encourage you to go take a look at it, and certainly Mary Ann Fiala on our staff can help you if you need access to that and finding it on the website. By and large, this type of research is geared very much towards improving lean project deployment across the country, as I've mentioned. Most recently, we again hired Penn State, and they're out there looking now at the constraints and challenges that trade partners find in trying to implement lean and looking at ways that we can work with them to overcome those constraints and challenges. So we try to make our research as practical as possible, and it's certainly in context a great aspect of what you get for belonging to LCI, as your dues money will help underwrite the cost of this research over time. Next slide, please. I wanted to make 2 points with this slide. One is it's baked into our bylaws that we have to try and maintain a good balance on our board of directors, on our leadership body, of the various stakeholders in the project. So we always have owners, we have general contractors, architects and engineers, and trade partners involved at the leadership level. And to kind of reinforce that, I'll just let you know who the officers of the board are this year. Our board chair is Stan Chu with Gensler, so an architect firm. Our vice chair of the board, Henry Nutt, will be moving up to chair in January, and he's with Southland Industries, an MEP contractor, trade partner. And finally, our treasurer is James Pease. James is executive director of the UCSF Health Capital Program, so owner's representative. So we do take very seriously our desire to maintain a good balance in terms of who's leading the organization and making sure we're really focused on the entire project team and not just one element of the industry. Next slide, Mary Ann. So at this point, I'm going to hand off to Joan Piccarello, who's going to take us through the next portion of the program. Joan is in the picture here, just to the right of my picture, and she'll walk us through the next portion here. Joan?
Thank you, Dan. Good morning, everyone. I'm Joan Piccarello, located in Arlington, Virginia, and I'm the Director of Program Development for LCI, responsible for our national events. And I'll turn it to Kristen Hill.
Hi, good morning. I'm Kristen Hill, and I'm the Director of Education Programs, so responsible for everything education related. And pass it to Mary Ann.
Hi, hello everyone. My name is Mary Ann Fiala. I'm the newest member of the LCI staff, and I am here to ensure that the voice of the member is represented throughout the organization. Look forward to working with all of you. And I will pass it to Eileen.
Hello, everybody. My name is Eileen Goldberg. I'm the manager of strategic partnerships. I work with sponsorships and exhibits for our national events, as well as our webinar program. Now, I do want to introduce you to Shannon Heyer. She is not able to be with us today, but she's our manager of finance and strategic initiatives. And I know that she looks forward to working with you all as well. I'll turn it over to Denise.
Hello, everyone. Denise Erminger, manager for Communities of Practice Relations. And my sole responsibility is that liaison between the local communities and our national organization. And passing on to Carolyn.
Hey, thanks, Denise. I'm Carolyn Martin, and I'm the database manager. So I check your records. I try to help you, and I'll probably reach out to you in some form one day. So now we'll pass it over to Julia Shellhouse. Mute.
Sorry about that. Trying to avoid some outdoor sounds. That was epic fail. But if I'm Julia Shellhouse, if you've ever registered for an event or received AIA credit through LCI or made a purchase in the online shop, that was me. And if you're involved in LCI's local COP events, then you may already know me. And I will pass this on to Olivia.
Hi, I'm Olivia Manus. I'm LCI's Manager of Marketing and Events. So I am responsible for our social media accounts, newsletter, email. If you've gotten an LCI marketing email, it may have come from me. And I'm going to pass it on to Kristen.
Well, hello again. I'm pleased to walk you through some of the information about our education. You can go ahead to the next slide, Mary Ann. The way we approach thinking about learning at LCI is kind of this road of starting where you're less aware, unaware, whether it's of lean in general or specific aspects of lean, moving into awareness, and then moving more into understanding. And between understanding and becoming competent, we say there's a loop because you have to go out and start to do it, then learn more and do more and continue this loop of learning. And then you may pop out more, something more masterful with it. And then, of course, lean is a continuous journey. So I'm going to tie this to our education for the next slide. Go ahead, Mary Ann. So in the offerings that we have, we look at it as e-learning is a great way to start on the path of learning. It's a great way to start to get multiple people standardized in the language and some different aspects, different methods. And it sets you up well to be able to move more into depth learning with the classroom, which is more the awareness learning. Go to the classroom, learn it more deeper, gain more information. And then moving on to applying it to gain some understanding, advancing it through advanced classes or advanced tools that you may be using to build that competency loop. And then perhaps popping out as a master, becoming an LCI teacher of some of these courses. So you can go to the next slide, Mary Ann. And this starts to lay out a lot of the LCI education offerings, going back to that idea of the journey. If you go across horizontally, you're seeing the courses in a broad perspective, and then going vertical, you start to see how you can move through depth, starting with that e-learning, bringing around this, starting your path towards awareness, moving to classroom, and it's listing all the different classes that we have to have. And then really moving into that, starting to apply pieces of what you're learning, and then whether going to more tool-specific learning or deeper within whatever you may be focused on, last plan or system. And then again, moving towards perhaps becoming teaching it and becoming an LCI instructor. And all along the way, we have webinars, the different events that we're going to be talking about today. We have articles and books and so forth to support your learning along the way. So you can go to the next slide, Mary Ann. This is just an overall kind of massive listing of what we do have available. Most of it, as Dan had mentioned earlier, is available through our website or more information on our website. So I'm not going to go through all of this, but I do want to point out a really valuable tool on the website is our glossary. It standardizes the language. It's very extensive, so I encourage people to visit the glossary. Go ahead, Mary Ann. So some of the benefits that being a member of LCI particularly brings around education is, number one, highly discounted attendance at our educational offerings. They be in-person or virtual courses, webinars, and then of course e-learning individual courses are discounted. We also have a fabulous enterprise level subscription to e-learning. This is where enterprises can get for a flat fee, put all of their people through all of the courses. We tend to do it for a year with a 2-year add-on or another year add-on. Anyway, it's a great way to really level set starting on a lean journey within an organization. Also gain access to our lean learning series, which currently is 8 mini courses set up to drive discussion. They're great for lunch and learn settings. They take about 60 to 90 minutes, depending on how long you get into the discussion. You do not have to be an instructor to lead these discussions. There's prompting questions in them and all. So they're very easy to use and a great way to start to create some energy around lean within the organization. You have access to downloadable templates, guides, and workbooks, and then also the eligibility to become part of the LCI instructor program, which gives you permission to use our coursework internally and with your project teams. And really also gives you the ability to start to shape the industry through helping to develop more courses and to improve our existing courses. So you can go to the next slide, Marianne. And so just a little about that instructor approval process. We try to make it a fairly easy enough process to go through, but yet keep the instructor level very robust. But it really starts with an application that's online. We ask for 3 references, and then depending on what comes out of that, you may be moved to a bit of an interview, or it might be that you are approved based on those references. And then some folks, we move on to doing more of assessment or putting them in more of a train-the-trainer option where you co-lead with another instructor. And that's really important for some of our more advanced courses because they are a little more intense to actually to facilitate leading those. So often we'll put people through a train-the-trainer for that, where they co-lead and learn how to lead the course. Go ahead, Marianne. And then I am super excited to announce that LCI is going to be rolling out a certification early 2023. It's going to be a very robust capability practitioner-based certification. It's going to involve, first of all, the application process, and then there's an exam that you will go through. And once the person passes the exam, the candidate moves on to submitting a portfolio where it shows practical application of lean with the outcomes that were found from it. And then a jury looks at those and decides whether or not to confirm the certification. So we're very excited about that, currently heavy in the process of developing this. So look to hear more information and more announcements coming out the next few months about this. And with that, I would like to pass it off to Denise.
Thank you, Kristen, and hello, everyone. I'd like to spend a few minutes to just introduce you and give you an overview of LCI Communities of Practice. Next slide. Awesome, thanks. Communities of Practice, commonly referred to as a COP, is defined as groups of people who share a concern or passion for something they do and learn how to do it better as they interact regularly. LCI COPs are nationally supported and serve as a resource for launching or advancing your lean journey by providing a meeting ground to connect, learn, and explore a better way to deliver projects. They're guided by volunteer core groups made up of various leader roles and contributing members. Next slide. Formed in 2021, the role-based Lean Champion COP is open to those in the Lean Champion type roles from LCI corporate member organizations. The COP's vision is a healthy and thriving community for Lean champions that helps them lead their firms in building and growing a lean culture. Offered virtually, events are focused on those of a social nature to foster relationship building and connectivity, as well as training events that support skills development and organization culture shifts. Next. As mentioned earlier, LCI currently has 29 regional COPs located around the US, varying in size and event offerings. Next. Many of our COPs offer at least monthly meetings, and they consist of Lean Coffees, which is a structured but agendaless meeting. Participants gather, democratically build an agenda, and begin exploring. LCI's Lean Learning Series is a facilitated discussion-oriented event focused on a specific lean topic. Many of these include why lean, what is lean, exploring the 8 waste, and the last planner system, just to name a few. LCI education courses are our branded trainings, many of which were previously only offered during Congress and are now available at many COPs throughout the organization, with content being delivered by approved LCI instructors. And finally, general events. These include project presentations, Gemba walks, and other education topics of interest as they relate to various lean approaches and tools. Next. Engage with your COP. Our COP events are posted on LCI's website, event calendar, accessed by clicking the events tab. Once you register for a particular COP event, you're added to the COP distribution list for future event communications. Anyone interested in learning about lean and engaging with other lean practitioners are encouraged to participate at local events. There's absolutely no experience required. Just come with an open mind, ready to learn and share. Each COP has its own unique flavor, offering a variety of events and topics during the year, but all with a common goal: to provide a space where participants can connect, learn, and explore a better way to deliver their projects. Next. Finally, we encourage your staff and teams to engage with a local COP. It will enhance their learning and your organization's shift to lean thinking and a lean culture. Thank you, and now I'll hand it off to Joan.
We hope you all can join us in New Orleans, October 18th to 21st for the 24th Annual Congress. This is where the lean community comes together for knowledge sharing. Attendees meet each other, and some that have been there before reconnect while sharing lessons learned and best practices. We expect over 1,400 attendees this year from the owner, design, general contractor, and trade partner communities. And just to give you a little background on how the content is developed, we open what we call our abstract submission window. This year we opened in mid-January. That window was open through early March. And we have an abstract review committee comprised of about 20 folks that review the abstracts and select the presentations for our concurrent sessions. Our keynotes this year are Carla Harris, Senior Client Advisor with Morgan Stanley. Carla will speak on intentional leadership. We also have Andreas Phelps, Principal and Founder of the Collective Potential, and Andreas will speak on the nature of work. A bit of an overview of Congress Week. It actually is, gosh, like a four and a half day program. Our core program is Wednesday and Thursday, October 19th and 20th. So all our attendees attend that, and then attendees have an option for three what we call add-ons. So folks can add on the Tuesday, October 18th Learning Day sessions. We offer, and many of them that Kristen just mentioned, and we offer over 30 courses this year, 4 and 8-hour classes, in-person classes. Attendees also have the option to add on Friday morning a Gemba tour, and this is where folks can see lean practices in action and an offsite project. And that's again on Friday morning. We also have, this is our second annual golf tournament on Monday afternoon, October 17th. So registration opens next week on Thursday, July 7th, and we encourage folks to register early. We have lower, what we call opening rates that expire on July 28th. And what we'd like to highlight is a kind of a major differentiator of the Congress event is that our speakers typically remain at Congress the entire time. So in addition to engaging with our speakers during the presentation sessions, you can connect with them more informally during breaks, over lunch, and at our Tuesday evening exhibitor sneak peek reception. Next slide, please. So here we have for you a map of our Congress locations back to 2004 and out to 2000. So as you can see, LCI has hosted Congress at various locations across the country. Now we've read our upcoming congresses next year in 2023, we will be in Detroit, Michigan, and we're headed to the West Coast in 2024 to San Diego, California. We also wanted to point out that our corporate members have access, online access to presentations for Congress as far back as 2012. So that is a corporate member benefit. Next slide, please. We invite you to submit for our second annual design award. Submissions are due Thursday, June 30th. And the purpose of this award is to recognize project teams who collaborate to produce design excellence while using lean processes. This award winner or project team will be announced Thursday, October 20th during our Congress Award program. Next slide, please. So pictured are our two 2021 Design Award project team winners. On the left is the Dr. Ann Anderson High School located in Edmonton, Canada. And on your right, the Aurora Healthcare Pleasant Prairie Medical Center in Pleasant Prairie, Wisconsin. Next slide, please. So we invite you to save the date for our annual design forum, which next year will be in Chicago on June 21st and 22nd. This event is typically about 200 attendees. Attendees come in here from project teams that use lean approaches to achieve design excellence. And this is, again, a two-day event, features 1 day of learning sessions in addition to a core program of morning general sessions, followed by an afternoon of interactive roundtable sessions. So next, I will turn back over to Mary Ann.
Thank you, Joan. Then we're going to now send it to Eileen.
Thank you so much, Marianne and Kristen. As we mentioned before, my name is Eileen Goldberg, and I'm the Manager of Strategic Partnerships here, and I handle our webinar program. Before we get started on this, I want to remind everybody, please keep putting your questions in the chat. We've gotten some great questions, and we'd like to get more from you so we can understand exactly what it is that you need and answer any questions that you have. So you had seen the slide that Kristen put up during her presentation about the LCI branded education courses and what we have for the classroom and things like that. Well, the National Webinar Series is a chance for you to experience those LCI branded education courses at a very high level. Once you go through these webinars, they're about 90 minutes long with an active time for Q&A at the end. You'll receive a copy of the recording and the slide deck for each webinar that you registered for. And those go to all registrants, not just attendees. So you do not have to be present at the webinar to receive the recording and the slide deck. We actually have single registrations for individuals and group registrations as well. So if you're spread out among different sites or different computers, it doesn't matter. Everybody can get a join link to the webinar. There are discounts for LCI corporate members, as I know Kristen mentioned before. And again, one of the best reasons to attend the webinar live is so you can have that opportunity to ask the questions of the presenters during that live Q&A portion. Now, a certificate of attendance is given to the people who participate in all facets of the webinar, and those can be used to self-report for AGCCM Lean Continuing Education credits. Now, while the LCI branded education courses are presented every year, new offerings are added yearly with different subjects specifically for the lean design and construction industry. You can view the LCI webinar schedule by going to the LCI website at leanconstruction.org, clicking on events in the blue bar at the top of the page, and then you'll see the calendar events and all of the national and local events presented by LCI and its local COPs. The webinar events are part of the LCI national events. Now we're going to go on to the next section, and with that, I'm going to pass it on to Olivia.
All right, thanks, Eileen, and thanks everybody for being here with us. I am going to cover social media. I highly encourage you, if you're not already, to follow us on social media. We are on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. You can see all of our handles right here on the screen. The benefits to following us on social media is to get up-to-date information on all of our events, webinars, educational offerings, anything LCI is doing, we're putting it out on social media to be accessible to anybody who's interested. And with that, I will pass it back to Mary Ann.
Thank you, Olivia. And thanks everyone for joining us again. We certainly appreciate having you here. As you've heard, there are a number of resources that LCI offers, from educational opportunities, webinars, events, but there are also opportunities for you to get involved as a volunteer. And what you're seeing on the screen now are some of those volunteer opportunities, from helping us with the certification program development, to helping us planning events, and to helping us determine and develop strategies to understand how lean is put into practice in the design community and in the trade community. All of those are opportunities for you to become involved, and we certainly hope that you will. And last but not least, at the local level, COPs, our communities of practice, are always looking for volunteers to assist them on the ground locally. So those are opportunities for you to engage directly and build your own network and your own lean community. With that,